Pour yourself a fresh cup of awakening with Coffee with Wally, the podcast that brews enlightening discussions with a grind of the past and future. Join host and seasoned broadcast journalist Wally Wood of the Wood News Group and co-host Andy Valadez, the marine marketer and master strategist from Marketing Dynamics, as they explore the past, present, and future. Dive into a world where technology and globalization intersect with prophecy. Each week, Coffee with Wally links ancient and recent history to tomorrow, making sense of today's rapid changes through the lens of Revelation 13. Don't miss any episode. Visit coffeewithwally.com and subscribe for your weekly espresso of insight. Coffee with Wally, a fresh cup of awakening, awaits you. Coffee with Wally, where understanding our times becomes clear over caffeine.
Where will you be the day after the prophetic rapture? What about your family, loved ones, or friends? International best-selling author Stacie Bowles has crafted a contemporary story entitled For a Second Chance, Turn the Page, which is available on Amazon. The tale is set in a small town near Houston, Texas. 4 female business friends hit the highway to the seasonal Dallas market and discuss their faith or lack of it in preparation for their merchandise buying spree for their country store of crafts, food, and clothing. Cassie, their leader, is emphatic about preparing for the eventual day that was foretold in the Bible. Their road trip doesn't go as planned. The warning signs are present. You have survived wars and rumors of wars, disease, family strife, natural disaster and extreme weather, upheaval, riots, and escalating crime. The silence of the Christian church of our time regarding the great calling away, whether you be pre-trib, mid-trib, or post-trib, is alarming. Read this book and prepare your community before it is too late. Your time is now. For a Second Chance, Turn the Page by Stacie Bowles.
COVID was just a dry run for what's going to happen. I feel like that when it does happen, I think half of the people are automatically going to take the mark of the beast real quick. It's going to be cool. It's going to be convenient.
God gave you this story, and I'm so grateful that you wrote it.
Stacie's book is a book for our time. It's written in a contemporary setting, dealing with some of the issues we've been through, like the BLM riots, the COVID lockdown, the voter irregularity, shall I say.
She's written a book that is easy read and very engaging, very real book, and it's good to give out to family members, and it's about what to do after the rapture.
Once the rapture does happen, I think it's going to get really popular. A lot of people are going to hear about it.
What are they going to listen to that's going to point them the right way? Because if they do take the mark of the beast after the rapture, they're saying, I don't want you, God. I don't need your advice. They'll be signing in to take someone else instead of Jesus Christ, and we don't want that to happen.
When I picked up the book, I couldn't put it down. Was very interested in the dialogue. I have a background in entertainment and film.
I got Stacie's book in my hands. I just looked at it, flipped open the book, and on the cover she said, "Get ready, redemption draws nigh, and get ready to hear the trumpets blow." And it put chills down my spine because I know that he's right around the corner.
I'm an avid book reader, so hearing that this was a story-based thing, it really intrigued me. I think this book is really important because there's a lot of people who don't know about the rapture, the mark of the beast. So many people are going to be fooled into getting it.
When there is a rapture, that there will be people left, and what should they do?
It's a very contemporary story for today's day and time because we're in those last days.
So when the rapture happens, all these people will be going to people's house to get a letter, and they will know what to do. They will accept Christ, and they will not take the mark of the beast. That is the biggest point of this book, is do not take the mark of the beast.
Hello everyone, I'm Wally Wood and we welcome you to this podcast of the Coffee with Wally podcast, and we thank you for joining us. We are doing a taped interview today, about our usual half-hour interview, and we're visiting with Stacie Bowles, who is the author of this book, For a Second Chance, Turn the Page. And this is a novel that she wrote in December of last year. So it's only been out a year, and it's already been labeled by Amazon as an international bestseller. Now, just to give you some idea of the setting, we're at a local hotel here in Houston, so you're very likely going to hear hotel noises. Don't pay any attention to that, but we just want to bring this interview to you and let you get to know this book, because it's really hitting some high strides right now. Again, Amazon has labeled it as an international bestseller, and this is its first anniversary month, and we're excited about it. I've become the editor of her second edition, and that's what I'm holding up right now is the second edition. And we have some special things in here that we'll bring to your attention here in just a moment. But Stacie, welcome aboard.
Thank you for having me.
I want to first of all get a background on the book. What caused you to write this book? This is your first novel ever. You're a local businesswoman, and your interests and your focus is on other things other than just writing books. How did this come about?
The Lord gave me a message one day driving down the road, and he actually gave me a poem. And after I read the poem, I said, "What is this all about?" And he said, "You'll be a witness to people who are left behind at the rapture, and about not taking the mark of the beast."
Okay, so the prime emphasis of the book is the rapture and a warning to those who are left behind not to take the mark of the beast. Now explain that to our audience in the event that people don't know what we're talking about.
Well, at some point, either before the rapture, after the rapture, or just at some point, there will be a mark of the beast. It's in the Bible, and it will be a mark required to buy or sell.
Okay.
And when that comes into play, if you take the mark, you're straight shot to hell. No pass go, collect $200. And it's, on a serious note, it's a warning, because most people don't read the Bible and understand it as is, especially Revelation and other books.
Right.
So once this comes along, they're not going to understand if they're not warned.
All right, to give focus on this, we're talking about Revelation chapter 13 in the Bible. And it talks about a forthcoming world leader that it identifies as the beast, otherwise known as the Antichrist. He's going to rule the world. He'll be the president of planet Earth. That has already been addressed on a number of media levels as well. And during the time of his administration, there'll become a necessity to put forth a message, a warning, a mandate, if you will, for everybody everywhere to receive a mark in the right hand or in the forehead. And without this mark, you will be forbidden to work, you'll be forbidden to shop. And so that will cause you to stand out among a world population that has received this mark. We don't know the nature of that mark yet, but we are told that there's a number in that mark, and it's the number 666. And I'm sure that the vast majority of our viewers are familiar with that number. Now, you spent a great deal of time in this. This is a novel. I want to go back and repeat this. This is not a documentary, it's a novel. So give us the background on what the story is about.
Well, it's a takeoff on the business that I'm already in. So it's a storyline about 4 friends who take off to Dallas Market.
These are business partners.
They're friends in real life,
okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And everything's been changed about their names, character, everything.
Right.
So we take off to Dallas Market, and all these conversations start coming up. And throughout the book, I answer the questions with biblical verses to back up what I am saying to answer the questions. And by the time you get to the end in the book, the rapture does happen, and they race back to the house to get the poem that's left on the wall with instructions behind.
So the main thinking here is, what do you leave behind for those who are left behind? And I think this is an interesting topic because this is never discussed.
Right.
You know, all the prophecy circles and religious circles that we've ever attended, this subject never comes up.
Right.
So I have the feeling that this was something on the heart of the Lord when he gave you this poem while driving behind the car. Now, you recorded the poem.
I spoke it into my phone, and yes.
And then later on typed it out. Now, again, just to further set the stage, because this book pulls everybody into it. As we've already been told, it reads like a movie. And we've even got some movie producers who are looking at it and giving close consideration to it. 4 friends on an annual shopping trip for their store, and this conversation comes up in the car. Cassie, the lead character, which is Stacie, she's the only one in the car that is of any biblical knowledge. And in the course of their conversations about the signs of the times, the events of the times, things like this, conversation comes around to this subject of a rapture. Some of them know a little bit about it. Others in the car could care less. And so it's a very intriguing conversation, interchange between these 4 friends in this trip. And it's during this time that they're having lunch, and at lunch, the rapture occurs. Cassie is gone. One of the other partners is gone. And there's pandemonium in the restaurant. And so this sets the stage of what follows. Because again, these are things that we only hear of hypothetically. But what Stacie has done is that she's actually added life, real life, to the whole idea. What's going to happen to your loved ones, your friends, your neighbors who are left behind? And so this is a kind of an organized, systematic approach, a blueprint approach, if you will, of how do you guide them in your absence so they don't follow the track of everybody else who's in fear, falling under the control of this one man who, in this time of missing millions, has to do something on an emergency level to bring order back into the world, right?
Right.
So what are some of the things that you have suggested in this book that people can glean from as they read this and begin to apply it to their own personal life and walk at this time?
Well, my expectation, what I would like to happen is when somebody reads the book, or even if they just get this information and they go to our website and get the papers, I have the poem that's on the website they can download. There's also a sample letter that you might leave behind. I would like for people to obviously let their loved ones know that this information is located at their house and where it's located, because one of the things, it's hard to talk to people, to witness to people sometimes. Right. You have family members that just don't listen to you, and it's really hard to get across. But you can just simply say, look, I get it that you don't believe like I do, but when this time comes, when the mark of the beast comes, or the rapture, like I say, whichever comes first, we all have different opinions, but when the mark of the beast comes along, or the rapture, they can race to your house, get the information, because if you tell them once, they're going to remember it when this happens. But ideally, I would like for people to leave complete instructions on what's to come, how to survive.
So what did Cassie leave behind for her friends who were left behind after the rapture? What did she leave for them?
Behind the poem was the initial letter. This is what's happened. This is what's going to happen. And then there was a box that was called a hope chest. Instead of a wish, it's hope. We hope you make it to heaven. Right. And it had letters for all the different people that she thought was going to be left behind. Instructions where the Bible was, where cash, credit card, anything that they might need to somewhat survive.
These are practical things.
Very practical.
That we don't even give any thought to because we're not taking them with us.
Right.
So you might as well provide some kind of blueprint, order for those who are left behind, because it's a fearful, frightening time, especially if they've been listening to any Christian talk about these things, then all of a sudden, suddenly, without notice, it happens. Right. Now what? And this is where you bring order into this chaos, and with that order, some hope.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things in the letter, in the book, and in real life is warning your people, it's going to be hard. This is not going to be a cakewalk.
Right.
And the faster you prepare yourself, the better chance you have of surviving the time frame and getting through. Because again, if you take that mark, if their family members take it, that's it. I have found nothing in the Bible that shows that there's forgiveness for taking the mark.
Right. Yeah.
There's a second chance.
Now you have provided a study guide for your friends in the book.
Yes.
And this is also on the website, and the website is the
revelationgeneration.com.
The revelationgeneration.com.
Yes.
People can go there, they can order the book, and they can also get these hints that you're talking about in the book to help guide them in leaving behind something of value to those who are left behind. And I'm not just talking about earthly value, I'm talking about heavenly value.
Yes.
They need to hear the voice of their believer, friend and family member who's gone. They need to hear that voice again.
Yes.
To bring some settlement within their disturbed spirit when this event occurs.
Right.
Now, Cassie left behind credit cards. Were they credit cards in the names of the people or in her name, or what? Again, what was the practical side here?
Well, in real life, if you have someone you're really, really, really concerned about, just that person you know they're not going to make it, it wouldn't hurt to get a credit card in their name.
Okay.
They don't even have to know it until
that time.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, my husband read the book and he came in and he's like, do these things really exist?
Did you leave any of these behind?
Well, because one of the things in there, I talk about leaving an actual will, just a paper, whether it's going to be legitimate after when this time comes or not. Leaving a paper that is signed that says so and so has the right to be in my house, to drive my car. I mean,
that's good.
You know, if you go on a vacation now, you might leave just a signed medical power of attorney or something, you know, for your kid to have medical treatment if you're not there. Well, this is kind of like that.
Well, you stop and realize we're talking about a total police state.
Yeah.
Global police state. When this dynamic event takes place. And what she's talking about is leaving behind some elements that can be of help in the chaos that's going to be prevalent everywhere.
Right.
Leaving a will, leaving credit cards that you have perhaps even drawn forth in the name of the person that you know is going to be left behind.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the book you also mentioned debit cards and bank account.
Yeah, I will clarify. I wouldn't leave a credit card. I'm not encouraging to leave a credit card that somebody runs up and not pay. That's not what I mean.
Right,
I mean a debit card.
Okay.
I even put in there, in my book, I even make the comment, spend the money through the debit card, which is my cash in my bank account that I've earned. Not encouraging running up credit cards.
Right.
Talking about debit card. Go use the cash. You don't know how long it's going to be before.
And let's face it, in that society, we are talking about a cashless, moneyless system. Everything is going to be digitized. And I've been writing about the cashless society since the 70s myself. And this is where the world is headed, especially at that day and time, when everything is on the lam and everything comes down to the wire. Cash will be done away with. Bank accounts may or may not exist.
Right.
There's all kinds of emergency measures that government officials will be required to take to maintain some sense of order at that time. You mentioned in there, imagine a world where millions of people are no longer paying mortgage, no longer paying rent, no longer paying bills.
Yeah, the financial collapse that will happen all around.
Yes, that's a very real world concept that we seldom ever hear discussed.
Right.
From prophetic circles. Everybody's preparing for the rapture, but who's preparing for what remains after the rapture? And so I think that this is a very, very, very practical book. I note that in our editing for the second edition, we gained the endorsements of several, I would say, celebrity-style people, celebrity level people. I'm going to mention just a few of them here. Pastor Phil Meadows is your pastor.
Yes.
Did he have any kind of hand in helping you write this book?
Not in writing it, but he did answer questions that I had. He supported me. He was really probably my biggest supporter at the time.
Right.
And this book, I believe, has changed his
perspective on things.
Of where we are and the importance of what is in this book.
Yes. One of the more impressive celebrities who've endorsed this is our friend Bill Nash. He's a Nashville writer and recording artist. He's author of the book Saint, Sinner, Singer. You can get that on your online bookstores as well. Well known for his songwriting and performance in Nashville for many, many years. He's the one who discovered Chris Christopherson as a maintenance man and put Chris Christopherson on the map. And he and his wife Kim are founders of Champions Kids Camp here in Houston. That's Bill Nash. He wrote an endorsement. Eddie Smith is executive director of the U.S. Prayer Center, and he also has his own publishing company here in Houston. He's been on the 700 Club and TBN, and so he's become well known in those circles. Scott Mendez, Hall of Fame world champion bull rider. He heads up Western Harvest Ministries here in the Houston area. And so he has endorsed the book. Stan Goss, author of Tears of Sorrow, Tears of Joy book, and in charge of the Crown of Glory Ministry here in the Houston area. And he's a board member and consultant to business leaders across the country. And Termite Watkins, well-known boxer, champion boxer, and legend in his own world of fighting world. He's here in Houston. Marianne Markarian, dear close friend of ours, international recording artist and gospel singer. She's been on TBN, the 700 Club, Carmen, Daystar, Benny Hinn, a host of appearances, very well known, very popular. She's written an endorsement here in the book. And then Tina Griffin. Tina Griffin is a former actress in Hollywood, having appeared on Beverly Hills 90210. She has her own TV series programs on ABC, Fox, and others. Counterculture Mom. She came out of Hollywood to expose the dark side of the Hollywood world, and her ministry is focused mostly on parents. And she's written an endorsement here. And she interviewed Stacie recently on her show, Counterculture Mom. You can get that online. So we picked up a number of sizable, muscular celebrity endorsements in this second edition. And we've done some additional editing. I wrote the preface in the book, and we're excited for the new mileage of this new edition coming out. And we are also, again, in communication with certain movie producers who are currently reading the book and excited about, they can envision it on film. So there's some more announcements that will be coming very, very soon. What is your takeaway on this book? What do you want people to really grasp who've never read the book, never picked it up? What do you want them to know? Aside from, do not take the mark. That's probably the heartbeat of your message.
One, to read this and then realize the time that we're living in. I don't think most people realize how close we are. Mm-hmm. And the Bible talks about signs of the times, and that is here. I just want them to I think that's what really adds spark to the book, is the timing of it. Yeah.
Yes. Everything in this book is current, real. It's not some future element. Mm-hmm. It's not something in the past. It's now. And you'll begin to appreciate it as you are pulled into the communication level of this novel. Now, are you working on anything else?
I am working on a second book.
Okay.
Yes.
And that is?
It's called Diaries of a Raptured Woman.
writing from heaven or what?
It will actually, I hinted towards it at the end of the book, and I had finished the book. Then the Lord gave me the idea for the second book. I went back and edited before publishing it and included that where they found my diary and letters and notebooks full of things, and that's where it will pull from.
Okay. So this second book, Diaries of a Raptured Woman, are part of the discovery of your friends who are left behind.
Yes.
Of the volumes of paperwork that Cassie left behind,
As they start studying the things that I left behind for them, then yes, in the second book, it continues. A book like this, everybody that's read it, they say, where's the second book? It ended, I didn't plan it, but it ended with the need for a second book. So.
And tell us a little bit about the study guide. What's involved in that?
The study guide is online. It's free to download. It has been pulled temporarily
for editing.
It kind of got put on the back burner, honestly, and it's longer than the book.
Okay. What's it about?
So all the questions that come up in here, biblical questions, I try to do a more
in-depth
follow-up on it, yes. I just use Bible verses in the book to back up what I was saying. And again, this is not the study guide. It's not complicated to read. It's very interesting. Everybody that's read it has absolutely loved it. And you asked earlier what I want to accomplish from it. I hope people become closer with the Lord. I hope people that read it that don't know the Lord may accept Him.
Have you had anyone who is not close to the Lord read the book and have second thoughts on their own position concerning the things of the Lord?
I've had a couple of people. I don't think it's converted them yet, but I do have a couple of people that it has made a big impression.
Good.
Yes.
Because if you can't convert them at that moment, at least leave an impression with them. That keeps them thinking.
Yes. I had one friend, I've been plugging away for years, and I had a talk with him afterwards, and it did not convert him. He's not Christian.
But at least you're talking.
Yes. And I asked him one question. I said, is there enough information in this book that if you're wrong and I'm right, then you'll know what to do? And he said, absolutely. I said, then that accomplishes it.
Praise the Lord. That's what it's all about.
Yes.
The book again, For a Second Chance, Turn the Page. You can get it at Amazon or any of your online booksellers. Is it in local bookstores?
If you go to a bookstore, they can order it.
Order it? Okay.
Yes, but Amazon, I think if you order it, you'll have it in your mail the next day. So, and Audible will be coming out soon.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You got 260 pages in the book, but it's a fast read.
Yes.
Because I'm not much of a novel reader myself, but what novels I've read have had to have some common point of interest in me to want to read them. Given the fact that this is about end-time prophecy, that's been my specialty since the 60s and 70s. So I went into it anticipating a scenario that I could relate to. And with these four women in the car, you're just a bug on the wall paying attention to what is going on between them. And it's fascinating to see the conflict, the arguments, the settlement of those arguments, the answering to their questions in a real world conversational background. So get the book and get it for the purpose of friends as well. That's what a lot of these people, even these who have endorsed it, have done. They've gotten additional copies to give to their friends because you really don't want anybody left behind, and you know that they're going to. And I think that again, the Lord has touched a nerve here. What are you going to leave behind for those who are left behind? And that just shows the heart of God in this whole matter. He doesn't have an attitude of escapism. It's not his desire that any should perish, but all come to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. And he knows that there are going to be people who are lost, and it breaks his heart. So I think this is a remarkable next step in his evolution among us, if I can use that word, of getting the world ready for the dynamic, earth-shattering changes that are coming. I thank you for listening. This is Coffee with Wally. We're visiting with Stacie Bowles on her international bestseller, For a Second Chance, Turn the Page. And I invite you, I encourage you, I challenge you to read this. Whatever your position may be on end-time Bible prophecy, this is a very real conversation between four friends. And I think it'll help prepare you for conversations that you're going to have with your friends. We thank you for watching, and come back and join us again very soon. I'm Wally Wood.